Hello friends and enemies, welcome back to Happy For Now. It's me, Isabel, here with my decade in review. So I'm really excited for this, honestly. Like, it's wild to think it's been a decade, and I was not going to do this, and then I started to think about what happened in my decade, and there's some interesting things, and I thought it would be fun to talk about my reading because I joined Goodreads in 2009. So I actually have a reading history from then until now. Unfortunately, I don't know exactly what I read in 2009 because there wasn't a Goodreads challenge that made it easy to go check. In the last decade, I've read 1,210 books, give or take, because I do not have the reading data for 2010. That's wild to me. That's so many books. Wow, 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 wow. So many freaking books. I love it. But yeah, I wanted to come talk about my decade in review. So let's kick it off with 2010. 2010 is when Dave went off to basic training. We were not engaged yet. We got engaged on a family weekend, and then he finished basic, went to airborne school, got his duty assignment, and found out he was deploying. I remember that phone call. It was in August. He got to Louisiana and called me to tell me he'd be deploying that fall, and we were like, I said okay, and we were like, what do we want to do? We decided to just go ahead and get married. It was my senior year of college. I planned my wedding in 2 weeks. So 32 years later, on the day my parents met, Dave and I got married, which is also wild. It kind of worked out that way coincidentally. It wasn't fully planned. It was just kind of like, okay, this is a weekend that we could make work. They had an opening, we went for it. We flew to Vegas. Here's some fun wedding photos. But 2010 was a year, y'all. Yeah, got married, Dave deployed. 3 months into deployment, he came home for, no, 2.5 months into deployment, he was home for R&R and then left again. So we really did not get a lot of time together in that first year of marriage. Although I was a senior in college, I did get a lot of reading done that year. I know that back then I was reading Rick Riordan and all of those original Percy Jackson books and loving them. I would have adored those so much if I was in middle grade age range when they came out originally. I was also reading the Fever series by Karen Marie Moning, which I think is really funny because I remember getting my roommates to read it in college too, and going to the bookstore to buy the final book when it came out. The Hunger Games, Sookie Stackhouse. I read my first J.R. Ward book in 2010 according to Goodreads. And I was also reading Amanda Hocking, who I discovered via the Kindle board. So this was right around when I got my first Kindle, which really skyrocketed my reading because I could take it with me everywhere and it was so much easier. Okay, in 2011, I graduated college. Dave was still deployed. We adopted Angus. Here's the cute baby picture of Angus. Angus turned 1 that year, and I read 75 books, even though I moved twice in that year. I moved to West Virginia, and then I moved to Louisiana to be with Dave when he got back. So that year, I remember reading the Rachel Vincent Shifter series, 9 Lives of Chloe King, and loving that book. That TV show did no justice. And I was so into paranormal. Look at this. It's wild how into paranormal I was in 2011 to me. Okay, so in 2012, I read 109 books. I discovered Sarah McLean this year. I think that was the first year I read 9 Rules to Break When Romancing a Rake, or something like that, this one. And I loved it. I discovered Jacqueline Carey, Meljean Brooks, and the Kate Daniels series, and I read a huge portion of those Kate Daniels books. I also started the Rock Chick series by Kirsten Ashley. It was also, I know, personal life, we were living, it was good times, we were enjoying ourselves, we were young, we were dumb, you know, all those fun things. In 2013, I read 113 books. I know this year I continued to be really into K-dramas, and I still like K-dramas, honestly. I just don't watch them enough. I need to. We were still in Louisiana, and I read my first Cressley Cole this year, so I thought that was interesting. It was the Arcana Chronicles, the first book in that, which I actually want to go back and reread that whole series when it's finished. And I also read A Hunger Like No Other that year. I discovered Grace Draven and fell in love with her books. That was a Master of Crows, I believe. I'll pop the cover up. Her writing, her fantasy romance is just spectacular. And I started reviewing books in 2012, a little bit here and there. Okay, and 2014, I don't have a ton of notes because, like I said, he got out of the military. We had a lot going on, obviously moving, school, finding new jobs, etc. It was quite a year, but it was good. We had fun. Here's us on our wedding anniversary. We went and saw 9 Inch Nails because we're cool. We're cool kids like that. And he started growing his beard, which he's now never not had. It's very funny when I see photos of like Dave in the military without a beard. I'm like, who is that man? That is not my husband who has this, like, you know, big old beard now. Let's see. Okay, so yeah, I read Penelope Douglas in 2014 and I started exploring more dark romance. I was super into the Vaginal Fantasy Book Club that is on YouTube still, with Felicia Day and Bonnie Burton, Kyla Casby, and Veronica Belmont. And I was getting a lot of romance recs from that group. Like, a lot. Then we have 2015, I'm working, Dave starts going to school. There's just a lot going on. I read 114 books though. I read my first Rebecca Weatherspoon, which was Fit, and I loved that book. And I actually need to finish that series as well. I have a problem, and it's called Finishing Series. I also read my first V. Keelan and Penelope Ward this year. I didn't realize how long they'd been writing together as a duo. But yeah, it's been a while. 2016, I read 160 books. I discovered Tessa Dare this year with her Castles Ever After series that I absolutely adore and love so much. I don't know why, like, I wasn't reading a lot of historical then, and honestly I was missing out so much. In 2017, I read 120 books. I finally read Darker Shades of Magic, which is one of my all-time favorite series. I started reading Ray Carson in the YA genre, and I love her writing. Alicia Rye, so like I finally read Hate to Want You. I started this booktube channel with Ness at the end-ish of 2017. I don't know if we posted our first video, I didn't check, in 2017 or in 2018. At the end of the day, a lot of those videos are private now, so just FYI. But yeah, it's kind of exciting that I've been doing this a while, but it's taken a while, honestly, also to feel comfortable on camera and to get a filming camera and do the things, to do the things that you do on BookTube. In 2018, I read 210 books. I met my current bestie and I got her into romance and started going to romance book events together. So we went to Con in 2018 and that was a total blast in Atlanta for the day. I started reading Aurora Rose Reynolds, who I adore. I finished the whole Throne of Glass series this year. I discovered Sophie Jordan and started reading Talia Hibbert, Julia Quinn, Farrah Rochon. I expanded more into middle grade YA and adult books overall as genres. And I read my first Ice Planet Barbarian this year. Okay, and then in 2019, so last year, this is weird. Like, I don't have a ton to say. Like, I feel like last year is pretty well documented here. I had an amazing reading year. Overall, it was a rough year though, so that's interesting. In the summer, I hit 200 subscribers, so yay. And I feel comfortable on camera finally. So that alone is so rewarding. Okay, if the angle changed, the camera battery died, but hopefully we're okay. So yeah, that was 2019, and honestly, like, I just am so excited for this year, like 2020, and the things I already have like in my head. I feel very creatively recharged this year in a way I haven't felt in a long time. So I'm just really excited. The only other thing I missed in 2019 is that we adopted Peas, our cat, who you've seen in videos. She's a delight. I adore her. She is like 100% my familiar. It's hilarious. Dave tells us to get a room all the time. On that note, I cannot wait for 2020 and to share with you the new things I've been working on and tossing around. I hope you're excited for them. I hope you guys enjoy them. And what else? I think that's it. So I will talk to you soon. Be sure to give this a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already, and let me know how your decade was. I'll see you soon. Bye.